topic of today's video is creating a pickup system. So for example, we have a game object with a rigid body. We need our player to be able to pick it up. So like this. Maybe turn around. So do some actions with it. Bring it somewhere. The main point of the script is to be able to lock the object when it comes colliding with other colliders. For example, to make the chair actually like having a collider, because it will create the system which will just hold our object at the point and hold our project inside our player controller. The objects will easily pierce through the walls, so we need to change it and make it work correctly.
Quick remark, if you are not interested in actually writing and understanding the code, you can slide this video to the end where you can see how to set the code correctly. And as well, again, you can download the code in my Telegram channel absolutely for free and use it as you wanted to use it.
Pickup controller. Let's open it and see how it works. So we have Unity Engine public as pickup controller. So public float max pickup range is the range at which our game object can pick up the object. So we set it, I set it to 5. You can set it more or less. This property is needed for our player not to pick up the object from kilometer away, for example. Public transport camera transform, it's just the camera link. It will help us to move the object with the camera. Then public transform object holder, an empty game object which is needed to place our picked up object there. Then layer mask collision layers, just layers for the collision. Public class texture to the pickup icon is the icon which is needed to show us the button which we need to press. Just a GUI interface for players. Very cool stuff. Public float rotation speed, speed of object with which it will rotate. It's not needed if you want just to make a system of holding an object, but I did a system so we can turn it around. Public class audio clip, you can add the sound of object hitting the walls, for example. Public class collision sound volume, just the volume of sound. Private rigid body needed to set the link for rigid body of object which we want to pick up. Can pick up, that's the flag which shows us if we actually can pick up the object or not. Does it have rigid body or not? Private collider, player collider, the collider of player. So player will will collide with object as well. Audio source, just the source which we need, and quaternion as well, the property for turning the object around. So in wet start we get the player's collider, then we get the audio source. We do audio source play on awake, false, so we will not have the sound of object hitting walls when we start the game. And audio source loop as well, we set it to false, so the sound won't continue over and over again. In void update we check for picked up objects. So if we press key code F, we have two other voids to start. So pick up object null. If the picked up object is true, we pick up object. if it's false. Actually, if it's false, we pick up object. If we already have the object which is picked up, we press F to drop it. And as well, we have the if object is picked up, we can turn it around by using arrows, for example. So on private void check for pickup object, we check first of all we have the ray which comes from camera, and we check if we hit the object with the rigid body. If raycast hits with the wrench and collision layer, when it hits the component with rigid body, we can pick it up. If not, we cannot. So try pick up the object. Here we have the large part. Private void try to pick up.
So try pick up an object is a void which actually says that we try to pick up the object. We use ray here to understand the position of object. Is it not too far away for us to pick it up? Then if it's enough range, so the object is within our pickable range, then we take the rigid body and we see if we get a hit, if we hit the collider. So if we hit the collider, so then when we already did it, we have if, which says if rigid body is not null, then we can pick up an object. We pick up object, the object which we picked up, we set the gravity to false, so it will not rotate by itself, and we will use the physics to turn the object to rotate it, for example, by ourselves, controlled by setting kinematic to false. In this part we delete velocity, so it won't keep turning around by itself. Sometimes it happened to me. Then in the next part we save the current rotation of the object, so it will have the same rotation as it had before we picked it up. In this part we freeze the rotation of the object. It is as well needed to avoid rotating of the object randomly by itself. Then in the next part here we set the object on the position of our object holder. That's very important as well. We save the rotation which our object had before we picked it up. So in this part of script we have collider object, collider picked up object get component collider. So we get the collider of the object we picked up. Then if the player's collider is not 0 and if object's collider is not 0, so if they are present, then we will ignore the collision between player and the object. Let's move on to the next private void. The next private void is drop object. Actually it's the same private void as the pickup object, but everything is set at like directly opposite, so we will drop it. So in this void fixed update we have very important part. So we will have smooth sliding of our object towards the target position. You can see the setting in this part of script. Now in this part we have the collisions. We check for the collisions all the time. As it void update, fixed one, so every frame we will have the check of the collision of the object, and if it is present we play the sound. Then private void rotate the object. Actually just object rotation, but by using get keys, keypad, like whatever you want, any buttons which you want. Very cool feature for game. And let's not forget about the ending of the script. when we have the rotation of the object, we need to set its rotation available, so we will actually be able to rotate it. And in the last one part on GUI, we just have the icon. If we can pick up the object, we can see the icon, which actually tells us which button do we need to press. Easy.
To set up the script, we have pickup controller, put it on our FPS controller on the player. So max pickup range, here we set the pickup range. Camera transform, the position of camera. Object holder, the position of holder, so the position where do we want our object to be when it's picked up. Then collision layers, just the layers with which our picked up object can collide. Pickup icon, simple image. Rotation speed, the speed with which it will rotate when pressing the button to rotate. Collision sound, I have it empty, and collision sound volume is 1. And I will show you how it worked. Kind of like the Half-Life 2 logic a bit. So we have smooth movement, no inertia at all. And we turn it around like this, we turn it around like this, like this, like this. So we have a lot of ways in which this cup can be turned around. And it will hit the walls. It won't go through them, as you can see. It has a collider, it moves around.
So as you can see, the result is really good. If you want to download the script, you can go to my Telegram channel, link in the comments below. Thank you for watching, bye bye.